Welcome everybody to Too Legit to Crit, a tabletop role-playing podcast made for people who knows the rules well enough to break them with style. My name is Juan Santana, and joining me as always are the wonderful Misfit and Zoop. How are you both?
Doing pretty good. How about you?
Yeah, so good. So kind of before we get into the topic of today, I just kind of want to say a little something about our changing or in progress change of format. We are eventually getting rid of Riverside, and I say eventually because we're currently still recording on Riverside. But that is probably going to go away in the next week or so. But we are nixing the live stream element of the show. Purely because then it gives us a bit more freedom as to when we record. You know, as long as we have an established publishing time, we can record pretty much whenever we want. So I apologize to everyone who used to come along and watch us record and sow a bit of chaos with us, but you can still catch up with us every week on the podcast. And that's the way we intend to do it, so we miss less weeks going forward, if that makes any fucking sense whatsoever.
Makes perfect sense, to be honest.
There we go. So the last time we spoke, there was something that was said towards the end of the episode that we kind of went, yeah, we're going to dedicate an episode to this. And that was that was basically, I can't remember exactly what was said, but Misfit, you were saying the fanfic is something that you can do with your own character, which I think we can all agree on. Yeah, you can be a fan of your own character, so you
should be a fan of your own character.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. By the way, on a segue, has anybody played a character they've hated?
Yes, I have. Oh my goodness. Okay. And I literally did everything I could to get this character killed. And like, for whatever reason, my dice were like, no, we're going to save this precious baby. And I was like, but I just want them dead so that I can continue, so I can make a new character and come back and probably not hate the story. But like, nope. Mm-mm.
What did you hate about them?
I built them to go in a completely different direction. And then the way the story happened, because like no one at that table talked about what they were going to play. So we had two people doubling down on sort of the same little niche in the group. And I was like, well, fuck, their character literally is better at this than mine. That's like what their build was for. Like they picked a whole to do that. Now I kind of was just like, I think it would be fun to go this direction. So I ended up having
personality or ability niche?
Abilities.
Okay.
Ability niche.
So I'm assuming we were playing some sort of D20 system, perhaps.
Yeah.
So the whole party balance argument, which we will discuss on another episode.
It is important. I do think there is something to be said about party balance, especially when you're going into like an AP. Versus more like it's different when it's a home game, because like who really gives a crap. But in an AP, having that party balance is kind of important. My personal opinion. But like none of us talked about it. Like it was a big learning lesson for me. It was really early on in my days in the AP space. And I literally, like, I had them kitted out to do one thing, and I had to totally change and directions real fast, which was not fun in any way, shape, or form, but I did it. And, like, I drove that character into the ground. Into the fucking ground, and I could not for the life of me get them killed. And I was like, how the fuck does this keep like dice, why?
And you couldn't just ask for them to be removed in some way?
No, because it was for an AP, so like it had to line up with the story.
But I mean, like, if you talk to the GM, like, couldn't you say, like, is there a way that we can write this character off? Like, I'm thinking like Critical Role, the
Yeah,
first
they've done it a couple
campaign.
times. No,
Yeah.
this person really wanted it to be like everything was in story, and like that's kind of why I signed up for it, was because I was like, yo, I'm here for a really deep story, but like, oh, this is a little too deep, little too much, because I don't like this character. They're not built the way that I wanted them
I
to. I can't
will,
take them in the direction that I want them to.
as a GM of multiple campaigns and multiple systems, I will kind of make an argument for GMs not necessarily encouraging players to swap out characters.
Hmm.
Um, of course, the way I've always done it is I'll always do one. So because what I find happens is the player will start out with a character, they won't like it, they're allowed to swap out. Character A goes and retires or does something else. They bring in another character, but then there's something about that character they don't like. So
I've
it kind of
experienced that too.
it sets a precedent of, okay, well, if you don't like it, we'll change it, which is fine, but I think there has to be a limitation. So what I will do is I will normally allow one where
Hmm.
a player will
Everybody gets one.
dislike the character and they want to, and it'll be okay, fine, we'll get rid of that character, we'll provide a satisfactory sort of ending, and then your next character, but this character you play,
Hmm.
you will play until they are no more.
So following this question on, do you normally see that with seasoned players or usually new players?
Bit of both.
Okay.
A bit of both. I do see it in more rules heavy games.
Mhm.
Hmm. Hmm.
In, like, I call them deck collecting games. So that within that I include Pathfinder, I include D&D, where your character is a combination of abilities.
Hmm.
And I
Right, right,
call it
right.
deck because it is very much like building a deck in Magic.
Okay.
But instead of cards, you've got feats, or you've got spells, or you've got. That's why I kind of call them that. So I see it quite often where a player has built their deck or their character, but not quite the right way.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
And in Pathfinder, retraining is a thing. But if you're playing an AP, an adventure path like Abomination Vaults, which is pure dungeon delve,
Abomination Vaults is brutal.
Okay,
it
so I
is. Yeah,
actually played the first book of Abomination Vaults, and I did end up having to retrain. My character was extremely ill created. And I did end up having to retrain her. So we did take a week where we were just like bouncing around
yeah,
town. And she did retrain. But the problem is she was trained in almost everything, expert in nothing.
yeah. Again, that is
That's
one of the
rough in
downsides to that.
Pathfinder.
So it's the downside of those systems, really.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You can either specialize or you can be a bit of a jack of all trades, but that just means you are mediocre in everything. And
Hmm.
Exactly. And it like once you start getting up to the higher levels, if you're mediocre, oh boy.
it's punishing. Now back to not the original topic, but back to their character hating part of it.
Yes, yes.
There's one character that I have grown to hate, and it wasn't because they weren't built well, or it was because they were too powerful and it derailed the campaign.
Oh.
I built Pathfinder First Edition. I built a summoner,
Mhm.
and it's the post nerf summoner as well, because the summoner was broken to
Yeah, it
fuck.
used to be super OP.
So then they brought out the revised version, the Unchained version, which was meant to be a lot more balanced. Was it fuck? My Eidolon had an armor class of 52.
What?
So the Eidolon itself was untouchable, but that wasn't the worst part of it. Once the
Wait,
Eidolon got
what level are
dismissed,
we talking?
the campaign sort of fizzled out at level 17.
Okay.
But even level 17,
That's
an AC of 52, fucking
ridiculous.
Yeah.
ridiculous.
You
That's
can't
super
hit that,
ridiculous.
can you?
With an Eidolon, you can.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Just
no, no.
pump
Can
everything.
any bad guy hit that?
Technically, yes.
Few, very few. But the
But
worst
at
part
that
was
level, you're getting into like god tier
when
shit.
when the Eidolon was dismissed, my summoner had all these summon monster spells locked and loaded, and you get like I don't know how many per level for free. So even without the Eidolon, she would just stand back and literally summon an army. So there was one where we were fighting, I think it was something like Ents. So it was just, I filled the battlefield with like fire elementals.
Okay, was it this broken in second edition?
No, the second edition
Oh.
summoner was quite good.
Yeah,
Quite
they did a
cleverly
lot of
done.
work to balance out second edition.
You
No,
didn't
I
get
just like Abomination Vaults. I would do anything for a broken character.
Abomination Vaults is a tough one because it is a very well written adventure path, and very well written as a dungeon dive. So, I'm trying to think. I don't think there was any character in the campaign that I ran
Mhm.
that was necessarily broken. They were all good
That's
and they
good.
were all strong, and they managed to get
Oh no,
throughout
we were
the
very
adventure
weak.
path.
We were very weak, and got close to dying several times.
I killed 3 in book 2.
Unfortunately, my group never made it to book 2 because at the end of book 1, the rest of the people in the party, not the GM and not me, but the other players were like, "Yeah, can we go back to D&D?"
Yeah, I get that. I do get that. I wouldn't go back to D&D though. The thought of it just makes my skin crawl.
I mean, they're not like hardcore players. They're more like, I don't know. They're the type of players who like D&D, and I'm not gonna yuck their yum for them.
For sure,
Um,
for sure.
but what I'm hearing from both of you is that the characters you disliked, it's not their personality, it's not their it's not something about that. It was their abilities that you specifically
Yeah.
didn't like.
I had another character. So the character I played for Castleton. I was in Castleton. The character I played for that, I actually kind of adored Serendipity, but I grew to kind of loathe her, and not enjoy her as a character because more of like the setting and the story and the people around me. Um, that was a character where I really needed time, and this was a big learning lesson for me. Castleton was a huge learning lesson for me, and that's how I took it. It was good in some aspects, it was terrible in other aspects, but I learned a lot from it, so I'm glad for the experience overall. But like, it's what taught me that some characters need deep, long, drawn out stories because of how complex they are.
Okay.
And because I didn't get that with her, I actually started really fucking hating her. Like
I
on a
have had
deep level.
I have had characters where it wasn't that I didn't like the character, it's that the character did not fit with the setting or did
I've
not
had that
fit
too.
with the group. But have you ever had any character that you just hated their personality?
What, of our own characters, like
Yeah, of
characters
your
that
own
we've
characters. Like, have you
not
ever
somebody
accidentally
else's.
made a character that you hated their personality? Like you hated embodying them?
Ooh,
Yes. Recently, I played her on Folk and Myth. It's one of my VTM characters, Lillian. She's a cunt. She's straight up, she is a fucking bitch.
But did you
Um,
enjoy that, or it was more
no, it
draining?
was really hard for me to play. I like to play her. I had to tap into a part of me that I haven't like touched in a long time. And every time I played her, I felt like my fingers dipping into this like cesspool of me and coming out, and it was like oil, Mm, no, she was a very hard character for me. I played her really well. People loved her, but like for me personally, walking away, I was like, I need a shower.
I won't say I hated this character because I did love the character, but playing them was so out of my sort of comfort zone or out of my sort of wheelhouse that I found it very difficult to kind of stay in character. And that was it was Toby in our Call of Cthulhu game, our one shot.
Really?
Because
You hated
I didn't hate Toby, I love Toby, but because he was so naive
Toby? He was
and because my natural inclination is to be a wise ass. A lot of the things that were going around and a lot of interactions he was having with the party, I'm just sat there going, I can't say anything. I can't retort because that would be against character.
He
So
was
I had to.
so
I loved
like a
him.
puppy.
I love the character, and for me, it was an exercise in pushing out that sort of boundary or pushing the boundary of to what I can kind of play, and it wasn't comfortable, and I would play him again 100%. But yeah, it was difficult to kind of take a back seat and be the doormat for a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had Shinobu Sharma, and she is my most damaged character in terms of like history, like while still being very real. I think I've talked about her before, but while still like all of her trauma, because it's a Mask the New Generation character, and
Mhm.
all of the trauma that she has incurred has all been based on things that I've seen. Not all of it, but a good chunk of it has been based on things that I saw as a residential counselor for troubled girls.
Okay.
So in at the age of like 20 or something like that, I dropped out of school for a little while and was a counselor for at a program that it was a residential program, and I was specifically in the girls unit. So these were adolescent girls who had to live at the program for whatever reason, whether it was like issues. It wasn't always them. Like they would have, certain behavioral issues, but it was always based on their experiences. And a lot of it was like the family was more messed up than they were, and I mean, like, the clinicians knew far more about it. Like, we just we just experienced like their need to have someone love them unconditionally, and like love them enough to set boundaries and to say
Mm.
like, this is not an okay thing for you to do, not in like a mean or hurtful way, but in a way of like, I love you, I care about you, I'm protecting you, and also you're not allowed to abuse me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So like, um the so she was based on that, but the first time I played her um as a superhero, um she ended up entering the scene very low status. And so I ended up playing her as very low status, like, oh my god, like one of the characters, I had told everyone beforehand, like her name is her superhero name is Gravitas. So one of the characters came in and was like, "Oh, like something something Gravitas," and she was like, "Oh my god, that's the perfect name! Like I'm gonna be Gravitas." And then she like looked at him as like her like mentor for all of this, and he was not well suited to be a mentor. And I definitely I didn't like the way that she went. So I replayed her in a different campaign with a GM who could play her parents as uh, awful people.
Okay.
Not purposely awful, but awful. Um but I've been struggling with her because I've been like, I don't know, I feel like her behavior is all over the place. Like I can't nail her down. And I saw this tweet or this post by Black Spectrum Scholar on Threads, which was, I wish people were less governed by the fear of appearing contradictory and more willing to engage in sustained critical analysis of their own behavior. Humans are not internally consistent machines. Everyone holds tensions and inconsistency. And then that's repeated 3 times. But I was like, oh,
That's really thought provoking and
that is,
also kind of true because like some of
yeah.
the best characters are a little contradictory, even throughout like literature and
Yeah.
TV and media and whatnot. Like when some of the absolute best characters are contradictory.
Yeah.
So I like was able to, like it was something that was very interesting for like thinking about me myself, and like, yeah, I can be contradictory in the things, like I can be like really empathetic and really thoughtful, and then sometimes when somebody does something really shitty, I can send them a whole barrage of really really mean texts and drive them off the internet. Like both things can happen. Um but that was a really helpful thing for me to like kind of become comfortable in the skin of playing her, and like not worrying so much about the fact that like the way she's talking right now doesn't quite line up with the way she was talking then, but like also trauma that kind of that
Also,
kind of
nobody's
okays it.
perfect, so you're just embodying the human element.
Yeah.
Yeah. So knowing that, but yeah, she's also very she's very catty.
I love.
Yeah. We're a big fan of Catty here.
I love a good like catty cunty character. Like they're hard for me to play. They're super hard for me to play. I tend to play sweet beans or like
she's
characters that have the best intentions.
she's
Uh
actually pretty easy for me to play because uh I say whatever immediately springs to mind. And she was captured by a bad guy. This is one of those times where I was like, is this inconsistent? Because we were all about to be captured and she was like, no, all of you get out, and made it so that she was the only one who was captured. And I was like, she's so like usually drawn in her own self that seems weird. But then, she ended up being questioned by this lady who literally went through the process of, she's just being difficult. No, wait. She doesn't know things, but she could still be useful. No, this child is completely useless. was was what
what's
the
her age range, if you don't mind me
she
asking?
is 19.
See, that makes sense for a 19-year-old though.
Yeah.
Do any of
Yeah.
you remember what it's like to be 19?
Not
Um,
only was she 19, she had been in a wheelchair. Um
oh snap. You've also played a
so like
wheelchair
she had been
character.
in a car accident and that had put her in a wheelchair, so she had been in a wheelchair for a while and housebound because she had psychic powers, and the first person who tried to like make her feel better after the accident, she caused his brain to bleed.
Fuck
And
yeah.
so her parents were like, yeah, we're just gonna stick you in this room and have you hang out here because you don't know
Oh,
how to control your powers.
oh, that's not good. That's not
Yeah.
healthy. Oh, that's so not healthy. So, but like, okay, given that backstory, it makes sense as to why she's a little all over the place and her thoughts aren't clear and concise. And I think that's totally okay. And I think there's a really cool line in there as she grows and learns and becomes more capable with her abilities to sort of have the chaos of her mind sort of like calm down and be able to think, and like as showing that as a progression of her understanding and knowing her abilities better.
We're actually having a really cute thing. So there is another young superhero who we've met who doesn't he's much more Batman. He doesn't
Mhm.
have any powers. He's everything it is he's trained himself, or
Mm.
he's used, like, he's the mayor's son, so he's like used the money that he has to like build the things that he needs to. And so she meets him and she starts like um not telekinesis, telepathically like talking in his head, and he's like, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this. And she's like, and like he keeps seeing, like, this is the first time he's seeing a bunch of superpowered people do things like stop time and like
Mhm.
other various things. And she's like, she looks at him and she's like, we were all born with, like, we all have powers. We didn't have to work for our powers. Like, sure, we have to work to like hone our powers, but we didn't have to work for our powers. You've had to work for every skill that you have, but every time you look surprised when you see other people's powers,
Mm.
you're just making yourself look like a weakling. So get it together.
So,
So she is slowly.
so taking that like that backstory as an example, your character's backstory. What would the difference between that backstory and fanfic be?
Oh, we got there. Good job.
We got there. We got there in the end. I was waiting. I was sat here going, someone mentioned backstory. Someone mentioned backstory. Okay,
So
so
like
yes.
I
What do
have
you
written
right,
Hmm?
okay, let's because you're the person who kind of brought up the topic. So we're gonna start with you
So
anyway. Go for it. What
the
is
first
fanfic?
thing,
Go.
fanfic is anything that is not active in the story. At least that's my definition of fanfic. I'm sure there is a proper definition that I don't really know. Sorry, y'all, don't come for me. But like, so one of the fanfics that I have written about one of my own characters, who is my beloved character, is Aster. I talk about Aster all the time. I fucking adore her. She's a menace. Um, but one of the fanfics that I wrote was about her tattoos. So the story behind her tattoos is majority of them are actually anniversary and wedding presents
Hmm.
that were actively designed and picked out by her husband.
Yeah.
Um so I wrote a fanfic about her biggest pieces that are on her sides, which are, they go from her armpit all the way down onto the side of her breast, all the way down to basically her hip
Hmm.
area. So they take up both sides. Um and I wrote a story about those, like going into the shop, getting them done, why the idea came about in the first place. And like, it was totally Aster's idea. Aster was like, I think it would be really romantic if you did this. Da, 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 da.
So the way I see like the traditional definition of fanfic
Mhm.
is it is fiction created by a fan of a property. Right? I think we're all in
Yeah.
agreement there. However, in our world, in our sort of hobby, yes, there is a GM who takes the majority of authorship for a particular campaign. However, the players can also be considered co-authors.
Mhm.
Whether that's with backstories, whether that's with the player actions, whether that's with player decisions, the players can be considered authors. So my question is, where is the line between, for example, let's take Asta and the story about how she got her tattoos. Why is that fanfic and not backstory?
For me, it is a little bit backstory. It's also a little bit fanfic. Um, it's never really going to come up in the main story
Mm-hmm.
because it's not relevant. It's not really important how or why she got her tattoos. It's not like something that's big and character make or break. It's just a thing.
So, hypothetically speaking, in a couple of sessions' time, your character goes to a place and meets somebody, and the person goes, "Cool tattoos, where did you get them?"
Should be honest, I got them from a tattoo artist named Terry out in LA. Like,
But so that is the point I'm trying to make. So, what makes it? Because
I'm wondering if it's like some of it has to do with like the quality of writing and also the intent behind writing it. I wonder if that is a little bit like backstory. You can write backstory in a very, there are people who like come up with like pages and pages and pages of backstory and they write it in a very flowy way, and
mhm.
it's one of those things where as a GM you can be like, okay, I love that you have put so much thought into it, give me the bullet points.
Please and thank you. Yeah.
Unless you're a GM who has the patience to read all of that, but then to read all of that and synthesize all of it, like it's also stuff that, you know, I think a lot of when you're writing fanfic, you're talking a lot about emotion and like
So,
feeling and like, you know, like sensory stuff like that the GM can't necessarily
yeah.
use like within their story because you're still in charge of your character's emotions.
I so my friend Aubrey, who's the reason I even started writing fanfics for my characters anyway, um, has a is a I'm not even gonna try it. Is an amazing
Prolific.
writer. She writes all the time. She's one of those people that can like sit down if she's really inspired and bust out like 2,000, 3,000 words with no issue. Uh that's amazing to me. um has, you know, an AO3 account, blah blah blah. She has a fanfic of her hunter character Freya and her character's mentor Toby, and those characters, it's real spicy. I'm just gonna warn y'all now, it's real spicy. It's great if you want to read through, it's pretty good. It's really spicy. But that's something that would never have happened in the game. So Toby, her mentor was like, no, I see you as a daughter.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait, so
right,
that's very AU, like
Yeah, so
alternate
that is like
universe.
true
yeah,
to canon
right.
fanfic.
I think the
Like
term
she,
is slash fiction. I don't know if
I
that
have no idea. I'm not
I
that
don't
No,
deep
know.
of a writer.
slash is specifically male, I
Oh, is
think,
it? Fair
or
enough.
maybe female.
Hmm.
But it is, I think it's called slash. I mean, maybe male female can be considered slash. I think it's called slash because it's the like the
No,
slash in between.
you are right. That it is between fictional characters of the same sex.
Okay.
Mm.
Mhm.
And then there's like lemon and lime, and I don't know the difference.
No,
Yeah, so like
I've
You're
just
like,
had
I'm not looking that up. I'm not looking that
I've,
up.
I've just had to Google slash fiction. Do you think I'm going to know what lemon and lime means?
But yeah, so like that's that relationship that Aubrey like wanted for Freya would never ever happened in the actual storyline.
Now, is that so? Question about that. Is that
Hmm.
because of how she posited it, or is that a decision that the GM made?
Yeah, storyteller. Yeah.
So the
So Ty
storyteller.
was like, that's not happening because Ty's kind of like aromantic. Oh, I can't say he's aromantic. He's more on whatever. Um, he was just
He's
like,
a spec.
yeah, he was like, no, this is not the case at all. And Aubrey's like, I know, but it's really fun. So like, so she wrote a fanfic, and it is a true to heart fanfic.
So who originally thought up the mentor?
Aubrey did, or
Aubrey
I
did.
think it was a
Okay.
joint effort.
Okay.
Honestly, having as someone who also plays under the same storyteller, a lot of times Ty is very good about like collaborating on like mentors or like sires in VTM or whatever. Like he's really good about putting things in a collaboration. So like I don't truly know.
Mm-hmm.
Um
Right. Okay. So that makes a lot of sense. And then I feel like things that are post story are
mhm.
all fan fiction.
I'd agree
Yes,
with that.
I
Post
agree with
story
that.
and even
Pre-story even I
parallel to
will
story.
argue is fanfic.
I would say, this is my opinion, I would say in terms of pre-story, I would say that anything that either contradicts or takes away from the actual story, I'd put as pre.
Or you'd put as
Mhm.
fan fiction.
Yeah.
I'd put as fan fiction, but before the events of the story, if something were to happen, my character gains superpowers, and then obviously in the campaign they don't have that. That I would kind of lean
I
towards
would
more like a pre-story
Or like
fan fiction.
okay, so if you take Shinobu and Hood is the other guy. So Gravitas and Hood. If I were to write a story about them meeting as children, I would call that fan fiction because
Yeah.
that
yes.
isn't something that was originally like when the characters were originally made. That
Mm.
is not like even
It
even if we were to say, oh, that's a cute story and that might have happened in the past, the fact of the matter is that none of that was part of the backstory of creating the npc or the character and how they interacted.
Yeah, because it contradicts canon.
Yeah.
Yeah, if something contradicts canon, then 100% fan fiction. So, do you still maintain that the tattoos are fanfic?
Yes.
But
Yes.
is that more because of like the lyrical nature that you've written it?
Yes, it is very so it's written from a remembrance perspective, like
Mhm.
her remembering the event.
Hmm.
Um that also it like not only was it a remembrance thing, but it was in a dream sequence. Um so a lot of it is like the tone of how it was written, and the fact that really it's never really going to come up in the story.
Right. Well, I think never coming up in the story is less about it, but it is more about like intention, feeling,
Mhm.
theatricality of the writing.
Yeah. So would this writing you did about the tattoos kind of contradict or go against what your character is in the campaign? Would it be
Yes.
out?
Yes.
Then
See,
yeah, okay. I'm
having
now leaning
after
towards
having
that side.
someone else pick her tattoos is like crazy cuckoo banana pants because
Mm.
she's so no, don't fucking touch me. No, I will think for myself. No, how dare you do that?
Yeah.
Um so like it is her acting very differently than how she is represented. So like Aster herself is kind of an anarchist. I mean, she is an eco-terrorist, so like whatever. But like there's enough of the podcast that everyone knows this now. Like if you haven't listened, that's on you. But like, yeah, so and there's even someone within the community who is writing a fanfic about her and her ex-husband who's starting a relationship again. This is something that's never going to come up in the story. This is told from like a fan's perspective, but I consider that true fanfic, because like that is a fan of the story writing a story.
Yeah, 100%. That, I don't think there's any question about that. That is fanfic. They would, I'm pretty sure that fan would be very honored if we were to kind of go, no, it's back. No, it's not. It's fanfic. And
it's fanfic.
Yeah, and I think even like when I write about Porvy and JC, and like they're like, even though it's an agreed upon future with me and his player, you know, it's still, and even no matter how much input I get from him, it's still like a future story that like we could always play a game and find out if that's really how it went down. But it's also like when it goes from like a list of things that happen to a more like vignette that
I love a good vignette.
Like I could publish like the them getting back together. I have a whole vignette written.
I've never done it. I have never written anything about one of my characters that hasn't been explicitly played in the story.
Okay, so who's your favorite character? We're gonna do it right now.
We're gonna do it right now. I think my favorite character, present or past?
Ever.
Okay, I think my favorite character is always going to be my first character I ever played. That's Nash. He was a half-elf bard. Played in my first ever Pathfinder game. And his personality was very much mine, but taken to the extreme.
Yeah.
He acted the way I would like to be able to act. He said the things I would like to be able to say. And he was very much a chaos incarnate, he was. And I think every character that I've played subsequently has had a tiny bit of that element to it. But Nahash was definitely the first. But he died, so it would definitely have to be Fanfic.
He died. How did he die?
Oh shit, he died in a grueling battle where he survived, I think, about 4 rounds in a cloud kill and then got eaten by a T-Rex.
Is there anyone who misses him?
I think so. I think the party kind of became reluctantly not enamored with him to a certain degree. He was a pain in the arse, but he was their pain in the arse.
So what if you were to write a story about him visiting one of them in a dream?
Well, we did kind of do that, not necessarily in a dream. He got temporarily resurrected for a one-off. There was a whole thing, then we tried bringing him back in another campaign. But yeah, we could do that. I think he'd probably visit the cleric. He'd probably visit Couch's character just because he loved to wind that character up. That was his entire thing. It was just, I'm going to annoy this character. And the entire campaign was me doing that.
there you go. You have a fanfic. You have a fanfic to write of the cleric going to sleep after really struggling with some sort of decision, and he comes to them in a like a, I don't know, from on high.
Sex dream. He comes to them in a sex dream.
If you need it to be, sure.
They're gonna bang.
It wasn't my place to suggest that.
We were all thinking it. We were all thinking.
I was honestly thinking more of like an advice giving thing or like a pep talk. But listen,
I tell you one, I would actually consider writing just for the fun of it. It would be a Shepherd and Banshee road trip.
Oh my god.
Just a road trip, just nothing like just traveling.
The two that do not understand humanity at all.
How fucking funny would that be?
That'd be amazing. God. I think you should write it.
That would be a sitcom. I think that would be.
You can write it as a sitcom.
If I have time, because time is a precious resource for me, I will definitely start putting pen to paper and do a couple of pages, because I think that would be funny as fuck.
I think so too.
What I find really funny is I think because I started writing this fan fiction about JC and Porvy in the future, and now my character Vivi and the high level D&D campaign that I'm in on D&D with D, she keeps writing fan fiction about the other characters. And I'm like, I don't know, if we raise a certain amount of money, I will actually write this fan fiction. So we have I think he's a paladin. Is he a paladin or a cleric? No, he's a cleric. So the cleric with the Ifriti, because Vivi was like, oh, you two are flirting, and the Ifriti was like, no. And she actually drew a picture of them like together and gave it to the Ifriti, and he set it on fire, but she did not see that. So there's a whole thing. They have fireproof armor, so like she is writing a whole thing where he dons the fireproof armor, and then he goes, down to the city of Brass and like meets the Ifriti.
When you said down, my brain went to a very different place. I was like, "Oh, really?"
I'm getting images of Spaceballs when Darth Helmet's playing with the figures.
Yes.
Ooh, Lone Star. Ooh, kiss me.
Literally.
Yes. But that just goes to show that like your GM or DM or whatever loves the story and loves the characters, and I adore that. Like,
so I actually canon in game, we had some downtime, and she did start anonymously giving out pamphlets with snippets of this fan fiction that she was writing of the two of them. She's just causing problems. She also looked for different things to do forgery of. So there was a ball going on that only certain people got invites to, and so she forged a whole bunch of fake invites and gave them to people that probably shouldn't have been at the ball. Ball had nothing to do with the game. Like, it was just fun to. She was like, I want to use my forgery skills on something.
Hell yeah!
I mean, Couch's character in our Savage Worlds Pathfinder campaign, he's like class-wise, he's a cleric, but he thinks he's a bard because he's very much entertainment. So every now and again, I'll get a message from Couch kind of going, so during my downtime, can my character figure out a way of like creating sort of glow sticks for his shows? It's like, 100%.
Yeah.
So we now have this cleric / bard with merch, and
That's fantastic.
I am so wanting to see where this goes. So backstory versus fanfic. So I think we can kindly conclude that when it contradicts or when it says something that is different to established canon, that is considered fanfic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've solved that. I think
Ba-ba-ba-da.
I think that problem
You should edit some of the like Legend of Zelda, like we did it music.
We did it.
if I could be bothered, that would be the first thing I would do. No, but I am happy to say that we have solved this issue, which literally nobody has ever had.
We're amazing. Next thing, world peace coming up.
Next, that's it. Next step, let's get rid of ice.
Yes, please.
Next step, we're gonna fix your country.
Oh god. Only by burning it down.
That can be arranged.
Yeah.
We do have someone who plays eco-terrorists quite frequently.
What? Are you talking about me? Yo.
Alarmingly frequently. I think there's been about 7 characters where Misfit's gone, yeah, she's an eco-terrorist.
Not just eco-terrorist, some sort of terrorist. So like
some
Tama
sort of
nuked her planet's computer systems because they wiped her brother's mind. Is now an intergalactically wanted criminal. Let's see. Tink is an intergalactically wanted criminal for blowing up a building.
So this is interesting. I need a list of all the terrorist things that your character has done, because I have been frequently accused of being a war criminal, but my character just does things like turn people into guinea pigs.
Let's see. Bo, my character Bo, started a citywide riot to cover up for a heist that was happening. She's also so Bo is cool. I played her in a home game. She's a rogue bard changeling whose whole backstory was she was trained from a very young age to infiltrate and take over kingdoms of bad people. So she is notorious for sacking kingdoms, especially if that kingdom was shitty. Like, she will go in, she killed off the monarchs and took their place, and then just started making corrective changes. And if people didn't want to make those changes or weren't agreeing to what she did, she would just sack the kingdom, the whole fucking kingdom, which is not great for the people. But she, it usually started as like a revolution of the people.
Yeah, it becomes one of those things. It becomes one of those things where, like, who exactly decides is right.
Yeah, it was very, so like there's another one she was more of a revolutionary than a terrorist, but like got the terrorist moniker on more than one occasion. Let's see.
To be fair, most terrorists don't call themselves that.
Terrorists? Yeah, everyone else calls them terrorists.
Yeah, that's it. That's normally a label that's given to them.
Let's see what else. No, I feel like I'm forgetting a character, but yeah, there's been at least like 4, maybe 5.
Seems to be a bit of a recurring theme.
I mean, people who have played with me have accused me of being a war criminal on more than one occasion.
Sometimes you gotta commit a little war crime. It's cool. I get it.
I guess there's a difference between terrorist and war criminal, because like I'm really accused of like your characters are more causing terror to large groups of people. My character more just does things that really shouldn't be allowed, like turning unwilling
Go
people
against
into
the
guinea
Geneva
pigs or
Convention.
setting people's faces on
Yeah.
fire, things like that.
Yeah. I get it. Like, yeah, but you know what? I play these types of characters because it prevents me from doing stupid shit in real life.
I play the types of characters I do because really every character, what they do, I consider to be completely logical.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Like, the werewolf was attacking my friends, so I turned him to a guinea pig.
No, see that, but that makes total sense. I
Yeah.
wouldn't even classify
Or
that as a
like,
war crime. That's self-defense.
and
Mm.
or the time that I was actually called a war criminal for doing this is when my character got the security guard to take her down to the lower level to make out, so that she could get into the vault. And then she started asking him, like, do you know how to get into the vault? And he was like, no. And she's like, well, you're useless to me and I don't have time to make out. So she turned him into a guinea pig.
See, I also don't think that's that bad. Like,
That-
if you had said she had snapped his neck, I'd been like, all right, that's pretty bad. That's like murder
That's
in
harsh.
first degree. That's
Mm.
pretty harsh. That's fucked
Yeah.
up. But like, as a
She
guinea pig, you're
was
still alive.
pretty much the sweetest bean ever.
Yeah, see,
I mean-
I don't think that's a war criminal.
Apparently one of her best lines was, that was the first dead body I've ever seen, and the second, and the third. No,
were they
I'm
all
not
called-
okay.
Were they all caused by you?
No, not in that case.
That'd be a wild reaction to killing your first 3 people. And going, no, I've never seen a dead body before.
That's
Honestly, I'm gonna make sure that happens sometime.
Well, yeah. How does a character react when they killed somebody for the first time? Like,
Oh, okay, we're adding. Have we already talked about that? I
feel
thought
like
we
we
had
have
already
talked
talked
about
about
that.
that. But
Yeah,
if
we have.
haven't, okay,
Okay,
We've definitely talked about that.
okay.
because like some people act like nonchalant, like whatever, ba ba da ba da ba da, and it detracts from those good moments of like, holy shit, I just killed somebody. What the fuck?
Yeah, I had a character who, she was a wild magic sorcerer, but had almost no offensive spells. Her spells were like prestidigitation and mending, and like
Mm.
and even like her first level spells, none of them were damage dealing. And then she absolutely destroyed a minotaur. Um, uh, when she was level 5, I think that was her first murder, and she was not okay.
Well, I think on that note, I think it's time to kind of bring this episode to a close. But yeah, I'm quite happy we got to the bottom of this very important issue.
The most important.
It was a massively important issue. First of all, I just want to say thank you to the Dungeon Maestro for the use of the theme tune, all that jazz. It is a fantastic tune. Check out their stuff over on YouTube. Zoop and Misfit, do you want to add anything? Do you want to plug anything? Now's the time.
Check out Vampire with No Name. Please and thank you. Under Dubious Creature Presents. Check out Aster. She's phenomenal. I love her. And the rest of the coterie is great too. I adore our little found family. Not in 2 weeks. The first episode I will be in for Mage the Ascension will be coming out over on the Old Ways podcast. So check that out. I'm really excited. Heather, aka Jasmine, is a very cool character who's going through a lot. Outside of that, I don't have anything else going on at the moment.
All right. How about you, Zoop?
Plenty of things going on. But I'm not going to tell you about them right now. All I'm going to tell you about is follow Convention Zero. Convention_0 on Threads and Instagram, convention0.bluesky.social on Blue Sky, as we start announcing things, basically the timeline for the April 30th to May 3rd online convention.
All right. If you want to kind of keep up to date with us, follow us on most of the social media platforms. We're on Blue Sky, we're on Threads, we're on Instagram at Too Legit to Crit. If you want to follow me, find me at Natural Juan. New episodes are going to be dropping every Wednesday from now on, so keep an eye out for that. It just gives me that extra little bit of time for editing. Other than that, I just want to thank Zoop and Misfit for joining me this evening. I also want to thank everyone who takes time out of their busy day to listen to us waffle on about tabletop role-playing games. Thank you very much, and good night.
Bye.
Bye.